You know me too well.
I know that. We're all ready in the back.
All right. Again.
Kirsty's going to kick off. Chris.
Kirsty.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, look, we've got a game to talk about, but before I get on to that, deadline day is fast approaching. You've been linked with a number of central defenders, all with Premier League experience. Is it that experience that's key, and how close are you to bringing in that signing?
Yeah, you're spot on. We have been linked, and you're correct again. Yeah, it is vital that we have someone that has played in the division or has played in a level that is equivalent to the Premier League. We talked about it when we first looked at bringing players that make us better or stronger as a group, and we feel we've done that with Ivor and most certainly with Ben. We weren't going to make wholesale changes, but we wanted to bring quality in. A few players going out, which they have done, but definitely bringing quality in to strengthen the group and to push the group. So fingers crossed again over, and I think obviously everybody understands as well as it was. There's still games going on, and incredibly important ones going on. Game on Saturday, obviously, and then a game Tuesday, and still we are as well working frantically to improve our group, and hopefully we'll do that before the window shuts.
Could it go right down to the wire, do you think?
Yeah, it could do. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always three things got to happen. Player wants to come. We make the correct offer, and I've identified those players, and then the selling club as well. Whether not in a selling sort of way, Kirsty, in terms of a loan, because that's what it's going to be. Because everybody's got to look at their group as well. So pretty much similar to me. If anybody came in for our players, I've got to make sure that we're covered, and we're not light going into a really important second part of the season.
Could we see any more departures? You mentioned Ivo Gerbic coming in. What does that mean for the future of Wes Foderingham? There's been reports that you would be willing to let him go in this window. Is that right?
Well, Wes asked the question, would he be available to go out on loan? And I said, listen, let's see what happens, see who comes to the table on that, and we'll discuss and analyse everything. And I was up front with Wes, always have been, in terms of what we were doing and the position with Ivor, and but like I've just said there, I'm not going to leave ourselves light as well, so I have to make sure that department is well stocked. I did. I put myself out there and said Ivor's going to be the number one, and if we're buying an experienced goalkeeper for money and offering him a 3.5 year deal, as we talked about, he's going to come in and be that number one. But injuries, suspensions can happen, so I've got to make sure as well, like I said, I don't leave myself slight, and we'll just see how that plays out.
He was thrown straight into the action on Saturday. A difficult result in for his debut, but obviously not at fault for most of the goals. But are you concerned at all that will hit his confidence?
No,
not
at all. If you've managed to be in his company from the first moment I met him, he's a really positive guy. So, he understands that. I took that decision as well, so I have to take that responsibility as well. But 2 penalties, a wonder strike from 30 yards, and another fabulous strike that he felt he could have done a little bit more with. He'll be a little bit disappointed with the 5th goal, but we're chasing the game, and no fault of his as the result. It was a pretty tight game, even though the scoreline looks a little bit one-way traffic. I think if you look at the game and we have reviewed it, it was a really tight game, a really enjoyable cup tie as well, and a lot of the metrics that we're looking at to improve, we're improving and have improved on, and we have to keep doing that. The biggest thing is that we don't make silly mistakes like we did in terms of the 2 penalty decisions and a couple of situations that led to their 4th and 5th goals. But Ivor will be okay. I made that decision to give him his debut, and he will be better for that going into Tuesday night's game.
How big is this game in terms of your fight for survival?
You know what, Kirsty, you can't really rate it smaller or bigger than any game. It's an opportunity of going and getting a result. I feel we're in good nick. We're playing decent football, like I talked about. I do balance it up. Modern day football, and everybody's talking about it, and I do understand, and I do believe my team plays modern day football in terms, if you watched it closely enough. A couple of comments like we talked about last week is really lazy and really shouldn't be attached to this team, because we're playing some decent football. We try and pass the ball, we try and create chances, we're creating more chances, but the thing that I was always brought up with is you're here to win as well, so we have to marry both of those things up and get the balance right, and hopefully we can put in a really good performance, because the players are playing with that freedom, creating chances against good sides, being a little bit more tighter in our box is key. A clean sheet won't go amiss as well, and that'll give us an opportunity hopefully of getting a really positive result.
And what do you make to Palace and the pressure that Roy Hodgson is said to be under?
You know what, listen, there's talk in football, always talk, but for me, looking back at Roy's career and what he's done, he just comes with a job, and the noise that comes with that is there, and it will always will be there, and not for me to tell anybody how to do the job, or Roy, certainly with the experience and what he's achieved in his career. I believe he's a fantastic manager. He achieved incredible success. In an heartbeat, I'll take what he's done and still going, and for me, an outstanding manager, an outstanding man. Cheers.
Chris, in terms of your players, are there any bids that have come in for them? I know there was a lot of chat about Anel and interest in him this month. Is there anything on the table?
No, there hasn't been, and there's been, really loose inquiries. Would he be available, and stuff like that. So mostly loans, which we've turned down, and obviously we've done business with a few of the boys going out the building as well, but nothing concrete to say, right, we're in discussion and we're in negotiations in terms of moving players on. I'm happy with the group. I want it to be more healthier than what it has been, and you're seeing that, as I've talked about at length by the week, getting players back, which is really good, and adding to it as well. I think if you look at the group now to our first game, I think young Ryan One was on the bench, and Sidney Pate was on the bench for the Brentford game, and that's not taking anything away from them. But now we're looking at the bench now, and it's in better shape, and it gives us more options. It gives us more options with the starting 11. It gives us more options in changing things round during the game, and it gives us more options from a tactical point of view.
I know you can say never in the transfer window, but do you envisage that nobody will go out before the window closes?
No, I'd be very surprised, because usually how it works, Adam, is that the early part of it there'll be talk, and it'll rumble on and rumble on and rumble on. I suppose like the Anel situation is the prime example, and you hear things because there's always things and noise going on, and you have to be prepared. We are prepared for a couple if that does happen, but we're not expecting it to happen.
Any youngsters likely to head out on loan?
No, I've been delighted with the youngsters, even some underneath the ones that have took the headlines like the Asulas and the Brooks. Got Arblaster coming back into the group. Gilly's done fabulous in training. Femi Sariki's done great in training. Owen Hampson, I've got to say, obviously we were part of the early sort of change in culture in 2016 in terms of where we wanted the academy to go, from a mindset and the quality as well, adding both of those up. And the work that the academy have done since then has been outstanding, and bringing the players through. And I don't see that stopping. And it's great for us as a football club, great for us as a coaching staff to be able to deal with young players as well, and those be part of the journey.
In terms of your squad for Palace, anyone else back? Any other fresh injuries from Saturday?
No, we're obviously missing Rian, second game of a 3-match suspension, but Nobody's missing. Everybody's come through the game unscathed, and I don't think it was the two boys that have come back from AFCON who were involved on Saturday will be involved as well.
And I know we mentioned contracts a few weeks ago. With you mentioned Jebison and Arblaster being close. Are they any closer to signing?
Yeah, there's discussions ongoing, so we're expecting that in the next couple of weeks to come to a conclusion, which is still talking about that academy and those players that we haven't mentioned. Another couple of boys that will hopefully have an impact in our group now and going forward.
And the senior players, I know there's a lot out of contract in the summer. Is anything likely to be done now, or could you see that all
we
go
are.
into the
No,
summer?
we are. So the sort of how we looked at it, going back deep before the Liverpool game, what can we affect with the team? What do we need to prove on defensively, attack from a possession, from out of possession? How do we need to change the feel of everything? What do we need to do to get players back injured, back onto the training ground? We've in a way we've all, it's difficult for me to come out and put a Marcelo Bielsa presentation on, because I'm not going to do that, but they all have improved, and you'll see that, because this stat's all about in terms of even Saturday, expected goals against a Brighton team that takes everybody to the cleaners, crosses, shots and everything like that. So we're improving on stuff like that we need to keep improving on. Certain things that we need to be improving on defensively. So January transfer window was obviously the main thing that we looked at then, and then looking at young boys' contracts, which was important, tying them up so we didn't come into a situation where they were out of contract. And then we're moving on to the senior players now. There'll be certain players, I've got to say, that we won't do anything before now and the end of the season. But there'll be two or three that we'll look at, we'll see, that hopefully will be part of the journey, hopefully in the Premier League, and if not, in the Championship. So those will be players that we will be attempting to tie down, because I think everybody knows that the situation with the out of contract players is not an ideal one for the football club, and hopefully we can just, and it's not in we want all the power. We know it's a two-way thing, but we want to put ourselves in a better position than maybe we have been.
So have you made decisions on everyone yet, or is there still time for certain people to change your mind?
I think there's always time. I think there's some that have got to have a really good second part of the season. There's some that you feel may be. The time is up on that. There's some you've got to look from an injury point of view to see where they're at. But there's always time to impress and take that opportunity. But there'll be measured decisions on availability, measured decisions on ability, measured decisions on culture and do they fit into the group, and how I want it to look, and I believe how Sheffield United supporters and the Sheffield United club overall want that to look as well, and we're really confident that we can get into that situation.
How impressed have you been with how much Ben Brereton Diaz has settled so quickly? He's been getting some really good reviews, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone with what he did at Blackburn.
No, not at all. And I think obviously what Kirsty said, regarding experience as well, and knowing the players as well, from a mentality point of view, from a character point of view, is really important, especially at this football club. They have to fit in, and Ben has been a dream signing, and he's going to go from strength to strength. And I always. And it's not the be all and end all, but I always gauge it on a sort of a supporter feel towards a player, and I think you know straight away. Obviously, he got himself off to a great start in terms of a positive performance against West Ham and a goal. A bit disappointed that he didn't get his second. We've had to be careful with him in terms of his minutes, because he hasn't played much at Villarreal. He's been an impact sub coming on. So we have to look after him, and it's really important. But now we're looking for him to really sort of top up his minutes, and I'm sure that once he gets his first sort of 75, 80, 85 minutes under his belt, then he'll be ready to go from the off and finish as well. He's a powerful boy. He's got really good ability. His character's fabulous, and hopefully he can add in terms of the goals and assists to the team.
Do you have to stay up if you want to keep him longer than this season?
Listen, it's nothing that we've not really thought about that, but it obviously does help, playing in the Premier League to attract players. But you know, as I've said before, Adam, you know, we are really looking sort of that next game scenario, and the next game is obviously a big one on Tuesday night.
Yeah, in terms of Palace, there has been a bit of unrest down there. There's been some banners in the crowd. Is it a case of be careful what you wish for? You know, they've had a decade in the Premier League, been really consistent. You've seen a lot of clubs, probably bigger than Crystal Palace, fall down the food chain.
Right, incredible, yeah. I mean, and you do look at it from that situation, and there will be some stories to be told when you do drop out, and quite easily drop out again, as we all know. So the consistency that the football club's shown in terms of leadership from the top, signings, and the structure of how they go about it, yeah, I've got to say, yeah. And I think that there'll be a lot of clubs that would have loved to have that stability and the consistency of being in the Premier League for 10 years, watching Premier League football, you know, and all the advantages and all the rewards that comes with being a established Premier League club. And you know, at times, you know, they have their moments, and at times they have their times where it doesn't go as well as everybody wants it to be. But they've got solid ownership, a solid chairman, and Mark Bright involved as well. So you know, the football people say they know the way around the game, and they'll make the best decisions.
You're hoping to still be managing in 20 years' time, like Roy is?
I think I will be, yeah. I don't know at what level. I'm not sure it'll be at the Premier League level, but I think that, you know, I still will be involved. I think once it's with you, and it's just incredible what he does and continues to do, and has to do to keep up as well. You know, and you know, there's a lot of talk last year when you obviously saw Patrick Vieira go and Roy coming in, and the way they played then, it was, you know, it was an outstanding period of the season for Palace, and I should imagine they'll be looking to get back to that. But there's a lot of things that can happen, a loss of form and a few key players out injured, and they'll be looking to get themselves back up and running, and for me, no better manager to make that happen.
There's a promising shy keeper at Palace in Dean Henderson, who you may know a little bit about.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Are you looking forward to coming up against Dean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're still in contact every 2 or 3 weeks. I get these mad texts from him, and I reply, you know, how's England's #1 going on? And he still obviously he believes it, and I think everybody knows our relationship, mine and Dean's, and the relationship between club and player, and what he did for us. It was an amazing time for Dean personally, as I should imagine he will say, and an amazing relationship that he had with the Sheff United supporters. So he'll get. I'm not so sure if he's played before. He might have, did he play? I'm not so sure. I doubt it. This will be his first time that he's come up against Sheffield United since he's left.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Might be. Anyway, I'll let you guys work that one out. But I'm sure he'll get an amazing reception from our supporters.
Are you surprised he wasn't given more of a crack at Man United?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I think he was promised. I think there was certain things that he was told what would happen and didn't. And I think Dean, knowing his character, was let down by that and felt let down by that. But went away to Forest. Obviously got injured and found his way to Crystal Palace. But outstanding guy as well. Great character and a fabulous goalkeeper. So that was his ambition when he was here, to be Man United's #1. For one reason or the other, it didn't happen. But for him to climb into the England squad as well, and he'll be looking to kick back on and reach the heights that I'm certain he can reach.
Well, we've already talked about Ben Brereton Diaz today and others, and James McAtee coming in, Dean Henderson. Is he another example of just how well this club has used the loan market over recent years to bolster the squad and build it?
Yeah, I think it's fabulous from a two-way thing. First of all, you know, we have an opportunity, and we have done, and previously the likes of Morgan, Gibbs White, and obviously McAtee's and Tommy Doyle's and players before that as well. And going forward, you know, it is something that we will definitely use and utilise. And I believe the parent clubs are it's fabulous experience for those boys because they get well looked after. They get they have the ability to play in front of a demanding 30,000 Sheffield United fans week in, week out, but good demanding. No, not on them and destroying them, but they have to perform. So that is good. And you know, whether it's my previous time and our previous time from a coaching point of view, through Paul's time and now coming into our time now, you know, they'll get well coached, well looked after, and given the best, you know, that we can give them to move their careers forward. And it's something that we will definitely be looking at next year and to make us stronger and hopefully keep that going.
Just finally from me, Chris, how conscious of you starting to chip away on that gap and not letting it grow anymore because games will start to run out?
Yeah, I think, Adam, the balance is, you know, like I said, a lot of the things that we wrote down when we first walked in, you know, the feel-good factor between supporters and players, I think we've connected that back, certainly. It helps with more results and more positive performances and more results. We understand that. A lot of the stuff, like we talked about from a footballing point of view, that we needed to address, from the stats point of view that we needed to address, we feel we're addressing. The feel-good factor in the place, which, you know, is difficult for you to see because you only dip in and out of it. But I can tell you, it's a good place to work. The players are in really buoyant mood. They understand the challenge ahead of them, and other bits and pieces that we're happy with. There's a couple of things like we talked about that maybe, as a manager, when you look at and I think people talk to you about this, how do you deal with that? I was asked a question actually Saturday. How do you deal with coming off? I was showing somebody around Bramall Lane and saying this is where, you know, the interview rooms are. This is where these things happen, and you live and all over the world. And the question was, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it straight away, emotionally as well, especially in my club as well? How do you deal with that emotion when you've lost a game or you've won a game and you have to keep calm and obviously through experience, and then you have, you know, you're talking to the players as well, and you've got to make sure you get that right as well. And there's times where you don't get it right, but you try to. And my sort of assessment of the game on Saturday was that I thought in between they had their style, we had our style, but, you know, we created just as much, if not more, chances than them. But defensively, we have to cut out the silly mistakes. It's ridiculous to, you know, even lead up to the first goal, a poor decision to come out and press. We've got to get those details right. You know, a couple of really soft decisions on penalties, and you know, I talked about the referee afterwards. I thought he had a really poor game, and it felt too much for him. And you know, and the decisions and how he managed players that were incredibly, you know, looked as if they're going to be out for a season, and then sprang up and run 100 yards in about 10 seconds. How he managed that, which I still feel that referees can manage that a little bit better. And then looking from a defensive point of view, the goals that we've conceded, we've not been absolutely bad. The goalkeeper's not have to make save after save. The stats all back that up, and they're there to see. So that is comforting. And the last bit is around the top of the pitch, because we've had some really good chances, and quite easily that scoreline could have been flipped. And other people have other opinions on it, but we could have flipped that if we'd have been better defensively and we'd have took our chances. They were better defensively than us, and they took their chances when they were on offer. So, you know, there is what we need to do now. Performance, pretty good. Happy with the performances. Now we've got to marry it up with points and get that balance right, and then, because that's what we're here for. And to close that gap and to put pressure on the teams above and give ourselves a chance of getting out of the situation. So, of course, the marriage of playing well, which we all want to play well every single game, and play well and win. If not, play well, get something out of the game, and that has to be the attitude and the approach to every game. Cheers, Adam. Thanks.
Morning, Chris.
Hey, morning.
Yeah, you covered a lot of ground there, so just a couple more to throw at you. Dwelling on Crystal Palace, I mean, 2 of your next 3 are against teams that theoretically are in reach. So there's that. but you don't want to lose. You need to win. That balance, that's the tough thing when you're approaching Palace, isn't
Well,
it?
we go out to win every game. We've not set out to we don't. I don't say to the players, right, what we're going to do is we're going to sit on the crossbar for 95 minutes. Hope we get a breakaway group, got an opportunity or a penalty or a decision, and get something from the game. All games are different, but we see every game as an opportunity to go and win a game of football. And we'll see Tuesday night just as much as we saw Liverpool at home. Obviously, there's different levels, and the probability from your point of view and the odds point of view of us beating Liverpool, us beating Palace are a little bit different. We get that. But this is the Premier League. The quality performers in there, and whoever team we play against, you know, we have to be at our best to get a result, and we'll just keep going on in that manner.
And earlier you mentioned you're playing with freedom. Given obviously the reality of your situation, how are you managing to achieve playing with freedom at the moment?
Well, I think maybe that comes down to our approach as a coaching staff and how we deal with the players and how we're trying to take the pressure off of them. But for me, I've seen plenty of teams that have been sort of really struggling for form, and it doesn't look as if any of the players are really struggling for form. It doesn't look as if the team is getting battered from one week to the other. So, you know, we have to keep that belief. That was one of the things that we talked about when we first came in. How do we raise the belief? How do we raise the mood of the place? How do we raise the confidence levels? And slowly but surely, we're doing that through work on the training ground, practice, you know, working in the classrooms in terms of looking at certain situations, trying to improve the players from a unit point of view, from a player's point of view, and then taking that out and carrying that work that you do onto the training ground onto the pitch. And we have to keep improving. And I do believe we'll be a team that from when we came in to when we finish the season will improve. We might take a step back now and again, but we have to keep improving and keep moving this forward.
And you're all professionals. The players are trained to a high level, physically fit. Is a lot of the battle in the head?
Yeah, but the lot of the battle is making that shirt light, and the supporters do that in an incredible way. You know, we're 2-0 down at home on Saturday, and they were with us. And you know, you have to have that connection, and we've got that connection, and we have to have that. We have to make that shirt as light as possible for the players. So messages from us as a manager and the coaching staff is key, and what we do, as I said, what we do in the training ground and how we approach the game. And we have to have that fearless approach, really, because I certainly know when a team is incredibly lacking confidence, when a player is lacking confidence, you know, it's an incredibly difficult game to play at this level, and they're not looking individually and as a team short of that, but hopefully building that up and getting better results will maintain and improve that as well.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
I'm just wondering, between now and whatever happens between now and Thursday night, are you confident that come Thursday night you're going to have a squad that is capable of, you know, turning the season around and staying up?
Sorry?
By the end of the transfer window, are you confident that your squad is going to be good enough for you to stay up?
Well, listen, we have to take it game by game. I ain't got a crystal ball, so we just got to look at every game on its merit. But all I can say is, with the work that we're doing on the training ground, the work that we've done since we've come in and adding better players to the group, I'm trying to put a lot together, and I like to think that we've got a better chance of winning games of football, and that's all we can ask for. If it's enough, we'll never know until that day happens.
In an ideal world, is it one defender you like, or two, or?
No, we're just looking at a right-footed defender. You know, we lost Basham and we lost John Egan, two huge players for us. So to get one in, you know, we'll make the group stronger and better and compensate for the loss of two big players for us. Thank you.
Good stuff, Dan.
Thank you, mate.